right. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Finnerty with Macabre Daily, your resident therapist by day, spooky horror writer by night. Very, very pleased to be here talking with Roger Conners today. He is a Cleveland-based actor and filmmaker. I know that he first came to my attention based on his reputation for being horror's first scream queer, which is still my favorite social media handle that I've come across to this day. Um, and I know that's part of why I'm like super excited to be talking with you today because as that symbolizes, um, you seem to go so out of your way to bring a real explicit queerness to the horror genre, which I know me as a gay man and other LGBTQI plus members of the community have been clamoring for years. Roger has acted in 40 plus films. He's written four movies and directed two, the second of which is why we're here today to talk. Um, I believe next month, right? Your second feature-length film titled Meat is set to premiere in Cleveland. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about it. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for such a lovely intro. And oh my gosh, your pitch of being, was it therapist by day and horror movie podcast host by night? Like, what a great balance. Like, truthfully, like, there's so much to explore there. So,
We'll
what a lovely lead-in. Thank
we'll
you.
we'll reverse the interview next time, and you can chat with me about
Yes,
that.
that's so cool. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be able to talk to, I mean, you know, in general, speak with someone about this because I've been really holding on sharing anything with the premiere because I mean, in
Mhm.
true indie fashion, we're working to the last second. We are still in editing mode. We have a complete cut, but I want to nitpick and add my like little artistic flares and pops and all the little things that I'm like, oh, we can push this a little bit further. Let's do it. Um, but I'm at a point like we have announced a date. Yeah, it's June 12th
Yeah.
in Cleveland, Ohio, and with that comes the natural, push for promo. But this is a project I'm very excited to talk about, and it's something that I've been sitting on pins and needles like leading up to this point.
Fantastic. And we're super excited to hear about it. I wonder if, before we delve too much into the movie, do you mind taking a minute just to kind of like introduce yourself a little bit and talk about sort of just how did you get into acting and filmmaking yourself?
Yeah, my name is Roger Connor, so that is who I am, and I am a filmmaker in Cleveland, Ohio, and I grew up in the Cleveland area, in Westlake, which is a suburb outside of Cleveland, and I found um, a connection. There was a connectivity with me and the horror genre from a very young age, and I think a lot of it was for me. I was kind of dealing with, I mean, as I was dealing with some personal things. A, being a little
Mhm.
gay boy, but B, like I had a mother who was extremely sick from a young age, and so like I was experiencing some of the horrors of life
Mhm.
as a child, and so for me, I turned to the genre because it was strangely cathartic. And for some reason I was able to cling to that and find certain characters and films and individuals that exist within the genre that I really connected with and I think represented a lot of strength for me and perseverance through moments of trials, and
Mhm.
tribulations. And so I used the genre as a tool to get me through some really rough times in my life. So um, when it came to how I would vent my frustrations with the world, I always was drawn to cinema. And so I started working in indie film as a teenager, as you do. You just start getting your hands dirty and working with other local filmmakers who are making grassroots projects, and it's just about getting on the right ones. But it was all coming up from just like the indie scene. Of course, I had no formal training at all. Everything I learned on sets, but I've been on a lot of sets. And so by this time now, today, film is something that really navigates my life. It has been the one main staple driving force in my life that's gotten me through a
Yeah,
lot of things, and I really I use it as a personal, I would say, tool to better myself.
absolutely.
Mhm.
That's, I think, like one of my favorite things about horror is almost how people who don't really understand it, they underestimate it,
Yeah.
right? So many people dismiss it just as like a silly genre movie or popcorn flicks
Mhm.
or even, just trashy film.
Yeah.
But I think those of us who are more connected to the community
Mhm.
and the genre, we understand how powerful it can be
Yeah.
as a tool for wellness.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. I
it's
love that. I love that you said that. I was thinking about that before this interview, Brian. Honestly, I was thinking about like what am I going to say before I premiere the film?
mhm,
Like my speech. What am I going to tap into? And right now, the genre is wellness for me. It's getting me through some things we're all going through right now. It is hugely impactful on my well-being. Isn't it amazing how we as a species turn to this kind of genre, or just the idea of horror, violence,
mhm.
the things that makes this genre tick. It's something we've always turned to in a strange way for catharsis. I mean, the gladiators
Yeah,
were the same
absolutely.
concept.
And help.
Crucifying Christians.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we have a fascination with morbid reality, but this is the most in control we've ever been able to, really portray these most graphic, gory details in a manner in which we have full control over it and no one is technically hurt. I think that this is kind of that perfect balance for us to explore that without doing anything truly taboo, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, we live in a violent world as it is,
Yeah,
so we might as well, yeah, explore it in ways that actually acknowledge it and
yeah.
let us face it. Um, it sounds like making this movie specifically, has been very powerful for you, very healing. Is, would you say that that has found its way into like the actual plot and the story of the film? And maybe at that, I should actually ask you to give us a little snippet of what this movie is about.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, first to answer your question leading into it, I'll break the film down in a second, but in so many ways, absolutely. Like so much of what I have personally just experienced myself as a human being,
Mhm.
mentally, emotionally, over the past 5 years. I mean, honestly, tracking back to COVID. Like,
Mm,
this is a script that I had been sitting on since 2016 in
okay.
so many different variations, but and it was tying at different points was tying into different things, tying into having HIV, tying into there's a lot of different things that was tapping into, and I was trying to kind of
Mm,
stick the landing of what was the core journey that these characters that were going on, and going into COVID, coming out of COVID was hugely defining of that.
mm,
But the overall storyline for me, it has to do with. I mean, it starts with a group of friends. It's 5 years prior. It's the setup. There's always
mhm,
got to be a good setup. Group of friends, gays, out for a night of fun. Meet a young man at a gay bar. Target him. They're like, he's the one we want to go with.
mhm,
Take him back to party. Young guy. They end up getting him wasted. They take him to a bathhouse.
mm,
They end up doing drugs with him. He overdoses. He dies.
okay.
And one of the other individuals who was there participating but was drunk and passed out early on, the group of friends left him
Okay.
with the bag of drugs and with all the supplies. And through the whole process of basically what is him going to jail, it was very manipulated to think, okay, you're taking the bullet here for these people.
Mm,
He willingly kind of agrees to this, and it ruins his life. And no one sticks around.
yeah.
Nobody stays to support him through what is a 5 year prison sentence. So he comes out a changed person who is sad, he's depressed, he's alone, he's been very isolated, he doesn't know how to coexist,
Mhm,
especially within his community at this point. And he comes back to the same city through a series of events, a changed man. And when he returns, all eyes are on him. There's a lot of gossip. There's a lot of murmuring behind his back. And there also happens to be a series of murders that follows. And so, of course, all eyes are on him. But who is really the killer? And that's the question
yeah.
of the day. But that's the basic core storyline of Meat
That's
and kind of what gets the ball rolling with the events that transpire.
yeah. That's fascinating. That feels like that setup could like there's enough there to make a movie just by that alone, without even touching on the horror genre or bringing a slasher into it.
Oh, the opening of the film was originally like 30 minutes long before you even fast forwarded to present day. Like at one point, like there was a cut of the film that was almost 3 hours long, and I was like,
Wow.
I can't be that indie filmmaker who's like, oh, a 3 hour long film. No one's gonna care about that. Like, no, I had to rein it in a bit. I mean, it runs a little bit longer than the average, but my goal was not to make an epic with this. I want to keep
Yeah.
a tight story, but it is a vibrant story. There is a lot going on. It really, really explores in detail the depths, the underbelly of the
Mm.
queer community and what goes on in our lives as queer people.
Yeah. Yeah, that like that resonates with what we were saying about the horror genre just in general. It feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like in this movie you're very explicitly leaning into the dark and more taboo natures of the gay community, which is
Yeah.
kind of a an interesting and unique spin to put on it, especially not to get too political, but like especially in this day and age where so much of the queer community is being like persecuted and just so much of a negative narrative is out there.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a bold point that you bring up, and it resonates with me because, when I started making the film, like actually started moving production on the film,
mm,
was 2021, you know, and then we did promo shoots and we were getting visuals and so by the time we started filming, which was I think 2022,
mhm,
2023, wrapped in 2024 because we filmed over like late 2022. I'm pretty sure is when we started with our first shoot. But I mean, there was a lot of build up to that. We did a whole lot of promotional material to
mhm,
develop the vibe of the film. And I had my own message I wanted to say as a queer person. I wanted to claim the genre and deliver that tried and true formula of what makes a slasher a slasher. I wanted that to exist in its purest form for queer people. That
mhm,
was the goal. And of course, there was political commentary, but my goal was to show flawed, realistic characters. Like,
yeah,
nobody wants to see polished caricatures. We're not looking to see Disney interpretations of what queer people are. We are allowed to be flawed. The flaws are what make the story work. And if you choose to try to make it a little too like Purell, like
mm,
it's going to lose the grit that really makes the LGBTQIA community what it is. We are a gritty community.
mhm,
We are a grassroots community. So we are represented to our fullest, over the encompassing project that is me. And I didn't want to shy away from flawed individuals.
yeah,
But I do think there's also very endearing relationships, and the overall journey I think is telling the story of a queer man reclaiming his queerness for
mhm,
himself, and kind of learning how to exist. I think we all feel ostracized at certain points. I think we all feel separated. Even as horror fans, I think like we have a very close knit queer horror community, but
mhm,
there are times that I think we feel maybe a bit separated from certain larger collectives,
yeah,
and I think that it's something that had to come out in this story. It's something I've been feeling and I've been suppressing for a while, and I just want to say, I really want to be loud about my
mhm,
queerness in this film. I love that I'm a queer man. I love that I'm a gay man. I love my queer brethren, and like, why wouldn't I just want to be unabashedly queer? That's who I am, or else my story wouldn't be authentic.
yes, absolutely. I mean, there's obviously, as I'm sure you know, there's a deep, deep history of like subtext and
Mhm.
coded characters and connecting with other types of characters in the horror genre for the queer community.
Mhm.
And that's beautiful. I love that that exists. But
Mhm.
then, exactly as you're saying, like we need that diversity of experience. We like
Yeah.
there's a time and a place for subtext,
Yeah.
and there's a time and a place, and it sounds like maybe this is your movie where it's like let's just throw it all out there. Let's be in the audience's face in a really really beautiful way.
Thank you. I'm writing in my experiences.
Mhm.
I'm writing to what I know. And there's always going to be that argument like, oh, well, we're fine if you're out there, but like you have to be so loud about it. Like, you know what I'm gonna fucking write about is, excuse me before my language. I don't even know if I can swear in this podcast, but you know what I'm going to write
Absolutely.
about? Thank you. Is the things that I have seen firsthand.
Mhm.
That is going to be what I can really express in its purest form and grow
Mhm.
as a writer from there. And so I do think that comes across here, and I really like. I hope that the queer community can watch this. I think one thing that has me nervous is because of what we're experiencing, and kind of building off what you had mentioned earlier, Brian. Um, what's going on right now? I'm scared to show a film that recreates acts of violence against queer people,
Mm.
and that's the thing. Especially my trans family, my sisters
Yeah.
and brothers and others. Like I don't want anyone to watch this movie and feel anything like malicious.
Yeah.
This is simply about representation of ourselves in a genre that so many of us really love and wish we had more characters in these movies that were like memorable that we could cling to and call our own.
Mm.
But I don't want anyone going into this taking something like that to heart. If that is something that is triggering for you because of what we're going through right now, you as a viewer, then I would say maybe now's not the time to visit that film
Yeah.
because this is the kind of movie it's meant to be and it's made for a queer audience. But the things that happen in a slasher happen to these characters and that just
Yeah.
needs to be expected?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how much of a content warning you need for a slasher because most of us know what we're going into.
Right.
But I think I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like the queer community, we're very hyper vigilant to messages about us.
Yeah.
And we what comes with that is that I think we're very good at reading people's intentions.
Hmm.
Like we can hear in media, we could hear people use certain language, certain hurtful language.
Yeah.
But depending on the audience and depending on who's saying it, we know if it's meant to hurt us or if it's meant to like represent us. And I suspect just from talking to you, it's very clear what your intentions are. And there can be something very empowering in like seeing a movie that's not going to pull its punches with us, right? That's going to let us get put through the ringer
Yeah.
of a slasher, just like anybody else.
We're claiming the genre for our own. And
Mm,
there's a lot of queer filmmakers right now who are doing that. And
yeah.
I want to acknowledge that. Like I think that the last few years there was an uptick in queer cinema in general,
Mm,
but there, especially within the genre, there was definitely an uptick in queer horror cinema, and so now that we are at a boiling point where things are going backwards in the sense of what is considered, I don't know, I guess socially acceptable, because like it sounds like we can't say certain things anymore, but we'll explore that on our own time. You know, Now these films that really I think were just about us claiming the genre as our own and being able to mold it like a ball of dough into whatever we as queer people want the genre to be. It can
mm,
now be that. Now these are really becoming. Uh, I don't want to be like protest cinema, but like in the sense of I refuse. If I want to get my film done, I also refuse to compromise on the kind of film I'm going to make.
yeah.
I am making queer horror. It brings me joy to make it.
Mm,
You cannot tell me how queer or not queer my film can be. And if you're going to start implying anything regarding filtering that,
mhm.
I'm just going to make it gayer. Like, I'm going to make it gayer. There are so many dongs in Meat. The movie's called Meat. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if how predominantly queer your listenership is, but I'm sure there's a lot of heteros out there. I need you to go in, men. I get it. If you're uncomfortable with swinging meat, this also may not be the film for you. If you're a cool dude and you're like, you know what, man, it is what it is, you're gonna fucking love it. It's gonna give you the slasher experience across the board.
Yeah.
But there's so much nudity in it because this is really meant to be a love letter to those slashers that define the genre. This is a 1980s love letter in structure and tone
Mm,
while it's set in present day. My goal was to tell. my take of a classic 80s slasher formula,
Yeah,
and so it is still the goal is to still appease that fan base too.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
good. Well, and all due respect to anyone who's watching this, but I hope a few people are offended because that sounds like that's the point.
You know, man, if you're offended, then I hope your life gets more exciting because
Yeah.
this is meant to be fun, and I think
Yes.
this is going to be fun on a lot of levels. I'm really excited for this premiere coming up because I've not had a live audience experience it. Like
Mm,
I mean, I'm still experiencing it in an incomplete form. I've
yeah.
not listened to a full audio mix yet. I mean, our everything across the board, our score, everything. I'm so thrilled with. We have such a
Yeah.
wonderful team who is working overtime and to bring something that is really just an all-out queer experience. Like it's
Mhm.
not just a queer slasher. Like the music is queer, the settings are queer. You see, when I say the underbelly of the queer community, like my goal was to give you an all-encompassing experience of the vibrant gay scene in Cleveland, Ohio that I grew up in, which you would
Mm,
not expect. But Cleveland is a blue dot in a red state, and I absolutely love my city.
yeah.
And it defined me, and the queer community here defined me. And so it really is a love letter to that too.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
movie does take place in Cleveland.
It does. It
Okay.
does. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And it's filmed entirely within Cleveland. We filmed a bit in Hocking Hills, which is about 2 hours south,
Mhm.
but a beautiful camping area. But we filmed one location out there. But other than that, it is entirely. I mean, it looks it. It looks very Cleveland. And so if you
Yeah.
are from Cleveland, then clearly you're going to appreciate that and you're going to see that. And that was my goal. I love my city so much. I wanted to make it look beautiful. It already is, but on camera, I just wanted to make it look the prettiest and the grittiest I could
Yeah.
because we want to get in the grit of Cleveland too because
For sure.
there is a lot of grit to Cleveland, Ohio.
You mentioned showing it to a live audience.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, could you speak maybe a little about the tone of the film? Like, what kind of reactions are you expecting or hoping? Are you looking for lots of raucous laughter? Should people be watching it, but like from behind their hands?
Hope that people are scared by it. Like
Mhm.
the thing is, and I love campy cinema, but my goal is not to create it.
Yeah.
That's been done by I have peers who have done that so expertly. Like I don't want to take the same approach to my art. Like I wanted to create a stone cold slasher that
Mm.
happens to be super gay. But there is I mean, there's definitely a dramatic tone to the film. Um, I'm so lucky to have some truly phenomenal actors
Mhm.
who really give a range of emotion that I think, like in a lot of indies, we might bypass. So I'm really lucky to have that. And the talent on this film is really impressive. It's a large cast,
Yeah.
um, but I think that when the takeaway, I would say, I guess, is I would want it to be something where there are points where I could hear the audience cheering.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear them like, yes, I am. I was promised a gay slasher, and my God, is this a gay slasher? Like there are moments where I hope the kills shock people.
Mhm.
And there are moments that I hope people want to dance in the aisles because the music's so good. Like
Yeah.
the soundtrack is banging. And like I just wanted to really give the feel of existing within the queer community, including like the nightlife.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to give viewers a taste of that, a feel of that. And in a theater, I think they'll get pulled into that. So I really hope that we're able to capture that vibe because there's nothing like being wasted at a gay bar in your 20s, like just like raging out and like letting it all go. Like it's such a definitive, poignant aspect of defining who we are as queer culture. Not everybody grew up in a nightlife, but so many of us did.
Yeah.
And so many of us can relate to that. And so I wanted to bring that through as well here. So I hope that
Mhm.
people are just energized. I hope they're pumped. I don't want people to walk out of this bored. I want them to walk out either furiously offended or just like thrilled that I gave them a big, gay, scary experience.
Yeah. Just no, yeah, no reactions in the middle. That's a
None.
great goal. Um, we can't talk about a slasher without talking about the killer, of course.
Yeah.
Um, they're in the movie they're credited as the stud, is that right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
stud. I think it's fitting.
Um,
Right?
and there obviously people listening to this may not have seen any images of them yet, but like clad in leather, right? Metal studs all over their face and body. It feels like the first thing that I thought of was just like a BDSM disco ball come to life. And I wonder if you could, yeah, talk a little bit about the killer design and how that came about.
I mean, I knew I wanted to incorporate fetish wear, but like I also wanted something that transitioned mainstream.
Hmm.
Like, I want to create a queer icon, but I want this to be a movie that the masses will sit down and enjoy.
Hmm.
And so I wanted it to have really pronounced elements of BDSM, fetish wear. It's a vinyl bodysuit. The focal character is, we know it's rubber. The focal, it's a like a lubed rubber bodysuit.
Okay.
And then with the obviously the studded leather jacket, there's a harness, and then the mask has no peripheral vision. I need to be clear that this actor, actually, there are 5 actors that played the stud. For different moments, we had different actors doing different physical sequences because there's no peripheral vision. You
Hmm.
are seeing through studs. You can't see anything. So they had to block out their beats. Like they had to
Wow.
really know what they were doing.
Okay.
These poor men. I had them running down staircases in these bodysuits. But yeah, so the costume, I just knew I wanted it to be really hot, but I also wanted it to be fear inducing. And like I know that people are gonna look at the stud and be like, I don't like I don't think it's scary. It's too gay. If a man covered in spikes was full sprinting at me with an axe, I would be horrified. And
Yeah.
so like my issue is like when you see this guy in action, I really think personally we accomplished exactly what we wanted. I don't want him to feel like another slasher that you've seen before. I don't think he does. I think he's sexy as hell. I think that the mask looks great in good lighting, and I really hope that people like vibe with it. I think, but it's
Cool.
to me, it seems like people are. Like I will say, like already, the one thing I see popping off more than anything is that killer looks great, and I want to hear that more than anything. It
Bef-
has me so jazzed.
I mean, honestly, before this interview was even like a glimmer of a possibility, like I was one of those people seeing that online. I saw the picture of the stud and was like, I don't know anything else about the movie, but I need to see it.
Thank you.
So it's, I mean, I might be biased, but I think you accomplished your goal.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. It really does.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like like I said, we had 5 actors play the stud for different sequences. But like our main silhouette is what I call him, is the main silhouette for the stud.
Mhm.
Um, Corey has been around from the very first photo shoot, and like the dedication a lot of people have had to bring this to fruition. Like you said, you've been
Mhm.
seeing this for years. We have been doing this for years. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like it is literally, like I said, 5 years since we've started promo to start funding this. And we slowly funded this thing over the course of all of this time. And so this is
Mhm.
something that took a long time, but there are people like you who have been just cheering it on and wanting to see it get finished. And so it makes me feel like there has to be something about it that that connects with people. And that's
Absolutely.
like, what more do you want as an artist in general, filmmaker or otherwise? Like, what more do you want than to have people want to see you succeed? So it means a
Yeah,
lot that there's people who've been in our corner since day one.
for sure. Um, I feel like I love your energy. I love hearing you talk about this movie. We could do this for another hour and a half easily. Um, Unfortunately, parameters dictate otherwise. Before we do start to wrap up, can you just share like for people who want to stay connected with the movie, see the premiere, find out how to watch it
Mhm,
afterwards if
mhm.
they can't attend the premiere, what do people
Yeah.
need to know?
Yeah. Thank you. So you can follow me on Instagram
Hmm.
at the Scream Queer handle
Yes.
is most of my socials is that's what I utilize, the Scream Queer. I've been using it for a long time. And
It's a
it's
great
done me
one.
well. And then the film Meet the Movie. You'll find it on Instagram at that handle. So yeah, please follow us. We're really just now starting to get in the swing of releasing promo to push this premiere, which is June 12th at the Capitol Cinemas
Okay.
in Gordon Square, which is Cleveland, Ohio. Their official website, you purchase the tickets there
Hmm.
at the Capitol Theater's official website. You got $11 in advance, $15 at the door. We have a whole series of events going on around the screening, including like a pinball arcade following live music. There's just going to be a lot of great things in the community. I'm trying to bring some business to Cleveland for this. So
Yeah.
expect to have fun. Expect to stick in Cleveland for the evening and have fun leading into a big gay weekend.
Fantastic. Yeah. Do you know yet what like after the premiere kind of what you're hoping to happen?
Film festivals. I
Yeah.
mean, we're doing film. I mean, it seems like the natural next step because I do think this is has the potential to be a film festival darling. I mean, dare I say it? Dare I say a film festival
You
darling?
go
In the right
ahead,
film
say
festival.
it. It's your baby.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope I'm not getting a big head over it. But no, I really think that that's the right path for this movie. But I'm also considering the idea of a road show. And that's something
Mm,
that I might be announcing more on in the next few weeks. But I love the idea of having control over the theaters that show the film
mhm.
and where people can see it, you know? So it seems like there's enough of a demand for it, then we're gonna make sure that happens.
So people should reach out to you, it sounds like. And dare I say, tell you they're interested in a taste of meat.
Open wide and say hello. Yeah, send me a message. Support the movie. I appreciate seeing all of the new fan base that's been developing over the last few weeks has really gotten me energized. So I love to connect. I also have a podcast, Dark Knight, the podcast with queer filmmaker Troy Escamilla, where we talk about horror cinema weekly. So that is something where I am very interactive with those who support genre film, So I love to interact with other fans, and I'd love to chat you up on socials.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Roger, thank you so, so much for giving us this time. I cannot wait to see the movie. Um, so yeah, from Macabre Daily, we'll talk to you soon. We'll be keeping an eye out.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Macabre Daily. I appreciate you guys for having me. Thanks, Brian.
Take care of yourself.